I am going to Ghana for Festac Festival 2025.
Africans are ready. Welcome to Ghana.
Africa show.
Africans are ready. Welcome to Festac. Africans are ready. Welcome to Ghana. Africans are ready. Welcome to Festac.
Oh, Mama Africa. Festac Africa. Oh, 2025. Festac Africa. From the 21st to the 27th of September 2025, the world will gather under one sky celebrating what unites us. Our culture, our heritage, our pride. Welcome to Festac Africa Festival 2025, a 7-day explosion of colors, rhythm, fashion, food and unity right at the Independence Square. Featuring daily cultural performances, movie screenings, 6 days of exhibition, 3 days of transformational conferences, Ghana versus Nigerian Jollof Rice Showdown, kids fun fair, wellness, sports and tree planting, teaching and innovation, and a pan-African trade market where every country is invited. Festac Africa Festival is not just an event. It's a festival of impacting inclusion and changing lives. Powered by Ghana Tourism Authority. This is your moment to stand tall, collect globally, and showcase the spirit of Africa. Register today at www.festacafrica.org. Africa is ready. Ghana is ready. Accra is ready. Chale, are you ready? If you don't get it, forget about it. Festac Africa.
Yes, it's that time we sit and rightly divide the word of truth. Depending on where you are, I greet you. Dayo dayo, nusiemi, bitwa bumbote, bana bayi solele, molweni abantwana abanguni, mpo salama watoto wa Mungu, dumelang, sawubona. Yes, this is Africa and Africa is our business. And from the lands where thunder speaks in drums and silence walks barefoot through spirit. Today we sit with a man who doesn't play just rhythm. He summons memory, healing and revolution. Through it, he's been a voice in the dark, a drum in the storm, a guide where peace was once impossible, a poet, a percussionist, a cultural alchemist, brother of the ancestral beat, the one and only Eugene Skeef Mkulu.
Thank you so much, my beautiful brother Washira, for bringing me into your fold, into your beautiful arena with such grace and respect. Thank you.
Most obliged, Mukulu, and we dive right into it. You are the tree with the apples. I am a young boy, as such I will throw stones. You've had a multidimensional journey. You're a poet, a percussionist, you're a peace builder. Where did it all begin for you?
Thank you. That's a very, very beautiful question and right to the heart of the matter. My life was shaped by the fact that I was born to two beautiful souls. My father, whose nickname was Bubesi, which is Zulu for lion, because he was a towering giant of a man, morally upright and fearless during the apartheid regime. So he was a protector of the most vulnerable. And a mother who was a midwife, a cycling midwife, a health visitor, and a healer through divination and African herbs. So those were the two pillars of my creation, if you like. You know, I was born into that family in a township called Clermont Township on the fringes of Durban, the city in South Africa, you know, near the Indian Ocean. But inside that township, one of the most violent parts of it, the violence of gangsterism and violence of the state, was called Ndundum, which is, in my terms, an idiophone for thundering hills. And it rained there, and there was thunder, and we would play as kids, play naked, catching flying termites, and fearless because of the healing of our mother and the protection of our father. And poetry, which is my main creative tool, came to me through nature. You know, when it rained, which it did a lot, our corrugated zinc roof would have holes where the screws are rusted, and the rain would come through. And it was my job as the firstborn to get up and get the other kids up, and we would put cans, plastic cans, metal cans, powdered milk cans, buckets, all kinds of receptacles under the points of, or on the floor, under the points of the roof where the leaks came through. And because of the different sizes of the containers and the different speeds of the dropping of the water, it would make beautiful melodic music. So those are my first experiences of symphony, of symphonic music given by nature. So that's my experience. And then the poetry was, I started reading at 2 years old. So I was an early reader, and I started writing poetry at 5 years old. So I've been writing poetry for very, very many years. But my poetry then was a great inspiration from nature, the sounds of nature.
So now, good that you brought us to that. And I'm grateful that now I know you belong to a great lineage of Sangomas and Sanusis. So when is that moment when your ancestors tell you, this is it? You know, that there's that rhythm you once felt, you know, whether it was a traditional instrument, there's that rhythm that ignited that spark in your DNA, and you knew, this is it. This is what I'm going to do. Describe that rhythm for us.
Thank you. So I'm holding I have a frame drum here, handy. So in African rhythms unite two important numbers, 3 and 4. The 3 symbolizes movement, rolling. And in most of our cultures, that's the male numerical energy force. And 4 is the number for stabilization, stability, security, groundedness, sense of belonging. And that is the female numerical energy force in our cultures. So I'll just give you an example of a rhythm. So when I go like this here. So there's the 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 in there, but there's also the 1, 2, 3, 4. And the combination of them makes 7. And 7 is a magical, powerful number in all cultures, not only in Africa, but that concept was first discovered in Africa. So that is the combination that gives us balance, harmony, alignment, the male and female energy. Africa is the inventor of that concept. So I received that consciousness from the Shembe people. When I was a kid, the Shembe people are a powerful spiritual sect who are fearless, and they wear white robes and green sashes, different colors sometimes, but white robes, full, male and female. And they chant, and they carry the double-headed nguni drum, you know, that has got a skin on both sides. And the fundamental beat of that one, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, a 2, a 3, a 4. So the 4 and 6 being the multiple of 3 are together there. Those people, when the moon came out in the middle of the night, especially at full moon, I would escape and jump out of my bedroom window and go around the house so that my mom does not detect me, because she was concerned about our safety. And as I say, my township was very violent. But the only people who were not touched by gangsters, who were followed by gangsters, like were mesmerized by the Shembe people. And gangsters would be so mesmerized that they would hide their guns and machetes, their zip guns and machetes in the bush, because they just wanted that energy, you know, that healing energy of the drum. It was mesmerizing. Now,
The gypsies of Africa.
The gypsies of Africa, if you like. Yes, my brother. And there was a place called Ebuhleni in near the Valley of a Thousand Hills, the Valley of a Thousand Hills. My father had a polygamous family. He was a man with 7 wives, and he had 47 kids. I'm the firstborn from the first wife of the 47 children. One of the places we lived in of the other mothers was in the Umgeni Valley, the river where King Shaka swam as well, when he had that prophecy of the fact that the white people would come and rule us. That valley has in that valley, excuse me, when you're driving up from one of from my original township, Clermont in Dunduma, the violent one, going there, you go up a hill and you pass a sacred place called Ebuhleni, and that's Zulu for place of splendor. And that was one of the retreats, the sacred places where the Shembe people would do their meditation and their chanting and dancing. And they would sit against citrus trees, you know, chanting and going through their scriptures. And birds would come and sit on their shoulders, when a bird would not normally do that to a human being. But these people were so peaceful and so in tune with themselves that birds would do that. And at the height in the 80s, in the 1980s, when South Africa was somewhat ungovernable, the MK, the ANC's supporters, and the Inkatha Freedom Party, you know, who were chiefly Zulu, had conflict, and they would be shooting each other across the road from each other. But when the shooting and the violence got so unbearable, members of each side of the internecine violence would go and seek solace. They would hide, they would seek refuge with the people of the Shembe people, Ebuhleni. And no bullets would enter that place, would pass the white rocks that defined their space. So it was a place of harmony, a place of peace, a place of well-being, and a place of unity. So those were the first people that gave me the vibe of the drum, you know, yeah.
Thank you very much. And now a lot makes sense that you mentioned you're the firstborn. So now, your activism during the apartheid and beyond, how did you use sound to heal and to resist? Because sound is your language.
Yeah.
The medium is words.
Yeah, thank you, my brother. Ngiyabonga. Imibuzo yakho ibukhali. Your questions are very sharp. Thank you. Incisive. In Zulu, we have a phrase that says, "Wisithunywa, which means you are a messenger, you're a courier, you have been sent. When I was very young, when I was a baby, when I was a little boy, a toddler, and a boy of 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, thereabouts, in my earliest years, I had problems in that I was very much in demand. I was sought after by old people and young people alike, males, females. Cats liked me, dogs liked me, birds liked me. I had a quality that I wasn't aware of, but something in me made me attractive to others, not just even other human beings of all age, different genders, but also other creatures in nature. And my mother knew this about me. I was a very, very heavy baby, 11 pounds and many ounces, and I tore my mother at birth. So I have a poetic understanding of my significance in this world. Because I tore my mother, therefore, I'm saying that my mother was my best friend. I was her firstborn, I'm her firstborn, and she looked after me. She loved all of us, but I was very special, and she spent more time on me. So how can I be then born and hurt the one who loves me the most, whose heartbeat gave me assurance and peace in the womb? boom, boom. Again in 3. 1, 2, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. That's the cyclical number of the beats of the heart when the mother is relaxed and the fetus gets the benefit of that. I was that kind of child. So how dare I hurt my mother? I tore my mother at birth and she had to get stitches. So I realized when I grew up and I became more aware of who I was in this world, that I was born to heal. So because I hurt my mother, I was born to heal. I had to heal. But I didn't know this until my mother explained things to me. So my mother would bring me from the street, from the violence, and from all the attention that I was getting, even unwanted attention. But I was just so popular, you see, my brother, if you hear me, that she had to take me back inside and burn impepo, you know, the herbs, and then light the special coals and put the coals and then pour certain essences from nature, from natural herbs that were crushed. She did all of that because she was a healer. And then she would make me inhale that and do chants. And then I was ready to be fed back to the street because I was protected. So where I'm going to with this is that I know, without blowing my own trumpet or without exaggerating my significance, but I know that these two, you know, I'm a messenger, I've been sent, and that I've got this healing agent. And sound is the most powerful force on the planet, in the universe. Sound creates vibration. Vibration animates and moves the molecules and even atomic quivering and vibration. That's what sound does. So sound is the most important communicator of any information and wisdom and knowledge. And so I play, for instance, umakweana, you know, the single bow instrument that comes from the hunter's bow, the original hunters of Southern Africa, Abatwa, the Khoikhoi, the Khoisan people. They originate all the original string instrument of all string instruments, whether you're talking double bass, violins, cello, come from Africa. The African bow and arrow is the first stringed instrument, and that's displayed, if you like, even on cave drawings. You know, you can see the instrument. So when the hunter was doing what's called the running hunt, hunting for the kudu, running for the antelope or the buck, you know, or the gazelle, the people back at the camp would wait and meditate on the fortune of the hunter to get the animal. He would chase, and invariably the hunter was a young man, the bravest and the fittest, and he'd scrape the bark of a tree and drink the juice from that and chew certain barks and plants that gave him energy so that he doesn't get hungry and can run and run and run for 100 kilometers, 60 kilometers, 5 kilometers, 20 kilometers, it doesn't matter. At the point where the animal is tired, the animal surrenders itself. He hasn't shot it or done anything to it. And the animal just bows its head and surrenders itself, gives itself to the hunter. He then takes the bow from his quiver, the arrow, from his quiver, puts the one end of the bow in his mouth, and the mouth and the rest of his body becomes the resonator. And these days we use the calabash, you know, the gourd. So, and all the harmonics, all the upper partials, the overtones that exist in nature would be sounded through the mouth, through the, you know, hollow cavity of the mouth of the hunter. And then he would take his arrow and play on the gut string, the woven gut of the arrow. And that was the first umakweana, first berimbau, uhadi, ukupu. Comes under many names and it's from all over Africa, but that's the original one. And that would appease the spirits, the ancestral spirits of the animal, because the person is saying, the hunter is saying, we are sorry to be so base as to need to seize your blood for the sustenance of my people, you know. And that's, if you like, is the power, the healing power of sound. The vibration of sound is the most powerful reinforcing harmonizing, balancing, aligning force.
Something I totally agree with you, Mkulu, because I am an ardent fan of the Kora. I don't know if you're familiar with Sona Jobate.
Sona Jobate is my mentee. I mentored her.
Which is an honor. Please, if you can, I would love to get her and ask her a few questions, but that is a story for another day. So now the stringed instrument, there's this instrument that you talked about, that frequency. And having worked with Mandela Sako and all that, which challenge are you finding transmitting this frequency through these modern platforms? Because music, there's that frequency. We look at the Schumann's resonance and all that. We come to understand that music is frequency, but through these modern methods of transmitting it, are we getting the original frequency?
Well, no, we are not. That's a very powerful question and a very tricky one, but a pertinent one and one that we have to face. My life is involved in the solution to that problem, practically by virtue of the work that I do. So, number one is that digital technology is beautiful, and all the electronic facilities we have, we all use them. I use that for those technologies. I compose, using digital keyboards. I've got apps, beautiful apps that help me to orchestrate, to compose, to write, to make chords, to make harmonies, etc., etc., etc. But we have to always remember that those are a means towards an end and not an end in themselves. They are a bridge between ourselves and the manifestation of our true selves, our deeper selves. So I repeat that. That technology has to be considered as a bridge between ourselves and the deeper resonance of our truer beings, who we really are. So the physicality of being, recently, just a few days ago, one of my close friends passed on to the next plane. He was one of the greatest drummers who ever lived, Louis Moholo.
Please, let's honor Mkulu, because I was even going to mention that, but since you just brought it up, a moment so that you can honor your great friend. I know you two are close.
Yeah. Thank you.
Most obliged. Yes, you were telling us.
Thank you. So thanks for that moment, because it allowed me to go even deeper than I would have had you not permitted me, had you not granted it. So there are two important aspects to my mentioning of Bralui Moholo. One is that to honor his passing and honor his legacy as one of the greatest free drummers. And he played a kind of music that is normally referred to as free jazz. And the operative word there for me is free. Now, he played for freedom, not only the freedom of Azania, South Africa, but he played to free himself completely and liberate himself to go to the next plane. My friend, our mutual friend who told me about his passing, shortly after he passed, told me that when he last visited him, just prior to his passing, Louis Moholo was in his bed, and he did not want to come out of the bed, and he gave them a strict instruction not to spend too much time mourning about him or obsessing about the fact that he's frail. He had already come to terms with the fact that he was ready to pass on to the next stage because he had done his work. He had fulfilled his mission on this plane, on this plane, in this plane, on this plane, on this planet. Now, when people move on, so that's number one. Number two is when people move on from this physical, corporeal state, in our cultures, as you know, my brother, they have not left. We are all together still. But they are in another form that is not immediately physical to the touch, to the smell, to the taste, to the sound of the ear, the membrane. However, they are alive and exquisitely vibrating through the deeper subatomic vibration, and vibration is sound in physics, if you like. But we don't have to even study physics to know that. We know that as Africans, the sound moves. And also the word ngoma, for song is also the word for drum, is the word for dance, is the word for divine healing energy. So
and the word for ancestor, in my native tongue.
Thank you. So we are one then. Three, coming now to answer your question about these sounds when we are using, modern technology, IA, apps, TikTok, call it what you may. The only problem that the main problem, which is really the main problem is we should not get caught up forever in them, because as I said earlier, it's a means to an end and not an end in itself, that technology. The European world forced, they created something called the equal tempered scale, equal temperament, the equal tempered scale. And what that is that 1 year, many years ago, one day, a meeting was held, and it was determined in Germany that the oscillations, the vibrations, every note, every impulse has a vibration. Like vibration, as I said earlier, is the main way that the universe identifies itself. So every note, my brother, has vibrations. They determined and they forced that 440, beats, oscillations per second should be A. If you were looking at a piano, the normal structure of a piano, just the note A, which is a white note, it's just two notes below, to the left of what's called middle C, which generally is situated in the middle of an ordinary piano. So A, B, C, the white notes, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and then it's A again, the way they constructed the music. So that A equals 440 revolutions per oscillations, excuse me, per second. That's like really fast, you know. And then they calculate the rest of the notes according to that that mathematics. However, in order to do that, they had to force the intervals to become unnatural, because the way the intervals of notes, like the example I gave you of the hunter playing that down, those harmonics that he creates, that he magnifies, you know, amplifies through the hollow shape of his mouth, are there in nature. You'll find them in palm trees, they're in bamboos, they're in the arrangement of flowers. You know what some people call the sacred geometry, the golden, you know, the golden mean or golden harmony. You know, things that influence Michelangelo and what's his name, Leonardo da Vinci, and people like that. But all that knowledge was had already in Africa, that nature gives us the intervals. So that, for example, a song, a key in a particular key, sung by all the people up in the mountain, in the Valley of a Thousand Hills that I described, and the same song sung by the people low down by the river in the valley, you will have what we call umuzi wengoma, the home of the song. That means that that same song will be different up there than it is down in the valley, even though it's the same song played on the same instrument, because the energy, the nature, the vibration, the winds, the force, just the energy of nature is different in one place than the other, even though the song is the same. So there was a flexibility of accommodating and moving and dancing with this difference, but establishing the same harmony. So what I'm saying by all of this is that I'm forced by this truth to actually be present in my workshops, to go and do them physically with these same young people. I've done workshops at Wits University, at UJ, the University of Johannesburg, you know, in Soweto. I've done workshops with young people, and they're all carrying their iPhones and filming and posting and what have you. But they could smell me, and when I, you know, shook my locks, my sweat would go and sprinkle on them, you know. They can smell amakwapa, my armpits. They can feel the vibration of my voice right there in the physical space. So we need to return to the sacred shrine. We need to return to the home under the dome, you know, the domed roof, because it is a mirror of the dome. AmaZulu, the Zulu is also weather. Zulu is heavens, you know, the name of our people. So we need to return to the dome of our creativity, of our consciousness. And that is the real sound, that's the real vibration. So we cannot end just with those electronic sounds. They're a means to an end, and not an end in themselves.
Amandla. Now, rhythm is meant to reconnect us. And Mkulu, I cannot get this opportunity and have you regurgitating what they can read on Wikipedia and on other sources. There's a lot of dissonance in the world. Give us a rhythm of Kolo.
The rhythm?
Because of Kolo. I might not get the pronunciation, but Kolo.
Yeah,
Kolo, yes. Yes.
Yeah. You mean right now?
We have no other time. Look at the world. Yeah. There's dissonance from Gaza to the Congo. We need that healing.
Thandanani bantu bomhlaba, bantu bakithi, bantu benkosi. Sifisela uxolo.
Forgiveness. That is lacking in today. And I'm sure you have mentored many youths. Many have passed in your hands. And around the world, what hunger, what creative hunger do you notice with this generation that was absent in your time? Or what is absent in this generation that was present in your time?
Thank you. Another very beautiful question. I will just tell you something that is very, very powerful about love. In this world that is plagued by instability, insecurity, and uncertainty because of conflict, more love is needed. But when I use the word love, I'm using it as an active verb. We need to love. We need love, but we need actively to love. Every single person has the responsibility to love. Love is the key agent of change in the pursuit of a humanity based on harmony, balance, alignment, compassion, and equality. To love is to inspire the creation of hope. There is no love, there is no life without love. It is this quality that Steve Biko embodied in his teachings and actions. His love for his culture and his people inspired us to be confident in fighting for recognition of self as a key in our struggle for liberation against the racist violence of the apartheid regime. The role of the artist in transforming society is beyond measure. The artist is the custodian of the spiritual powers that bestow the people with an enhanced sense of self-belief, belonging, and confident ownership of our innate capacity to determine our lives. This is the principal reason that artists are the prime targets of oppressive regimes. Healing, consciousness raising, and positive transformation are the principal purposes of the arts. Entertainment is beautiful, but it's a byproduct of this. It is not an essential component of music, poetry, dance, or visual arts. It brings us in, it's used, we can entertain each other and ourselves and others, but ultimately the goal is for the raising of awareness of who we truly are. My father once told me that life must be an act of beauty for it to be worth living. Beauty, in my lexicon, is another word for harmony. This quality is hard to identify anywhere in the world today. Our arts must restore this fundamental principle of being human in a world of difference, desperate for harmony. That's what I'd like to say to young people.
And the young people can only absorb that, internalize that. For we have a saying on the continent, what an elder sees sitting down, even atop the highest tree, a young man cannot see. It's time, my people, Africa, we tap into these hidden gems. They are not hidden because we don't have access to them. They are hidden because we have forgotten what wisdom sounds like. Wisdom is not noise. Wisdom has rhythm. Wisdom has a vibration. And it doesn't get any better than this. The legendary, and I mean legendary, Eugene Skeef. It has been an honor. Mkulu, you know I'm not a liar. I requested for 40 minutes of your time, and I'm not going to request any more than that because we could go on and go on and go on and go on. We are descended from healers, and thank you for sending out that vibration of healing, of forgiveness.
Yeah.
We need to forgive each other. And for those that are not aware of who the legend is, here is a presentation that you just may know exactly who our guest is.
Bheki Mseleku, Tunde Jegede, and Eddie Parker. Skeef's roots are deeply intertwined with his cultural work alongside Steve Biko, the iconic South African civil rights leader. As a young activist, Skeef co-led a nationwide literacy campaign reaching schools, colleges, and communities across apartheid South Africa. His collaborations span across artists like Anthony Tidd, Brian Eno, Bheki Mseleku, Tunde Jegede, and Eddie Parker. Skeef's extensive experience shines as an advisor to the Contemporary Music Network. His journey is a testament to the power of art and activism. Discover how Skeef's legacy continues to inspire and transform.
Festac Festival 2025.
Africans are ready. Welcome to
Africa Show.
Africans are ready. Welcome to Festa. Africans are ready. Welcome to Ghana. Africans are ready. Welcome to Festa. Oh, Mama Africa, Ojele, Ojele, Festa Africa, Ojele. Oh, 2025, Ojele. Festa Africa, Ojele, Ojele.
From the 21st to the 27th of September 2025, the world will gather under one sky celebrating what unites us. Our culture, our heritage, our pride. Welcome to Festac Africa Festival 2025, a 7-day explosion of colors, rhythm, fashion, food, and unity, right at the Independence Square. Featuring daily cultural performances, movie screenings, 6 days of exhibition, 3 days of transformational conferences, Ghana versus Nigerian Jollof Rice Showdown, Kids Fun Fair, Wellness, Sports and Tree Planting, Teaching and Innovation, and the Pan-African Trade Market where every country is invited. Festac Africa Festival is not just an event. It's a festival of impacting inclusion and changing lives. Powered by Ghana Tourism Authority. This is your moment to stand tall, collect globally, and showcase the spirit of Africa. Register today at www.festacafrica.org. Africa is ready. Ghana is ready. Accra is ready. Chale, are you ready? If you don't get it, forget about it.
Festa Africa.